everyone, welcome back to our channel. Igama lami nguYaya Zungu, and I'm one of 3 members of the Bush clan. So before I even tackle today's topic, I would just like to say thanks to everyone that has subscribed onto our channel. Thank you guys for engaging with us with our previous video. If you're new to this channel, we really do welcome you. Just don't forget to subscribe to our channel, give this video a thumbs up, and please do comment. I really do enjoy engaging with you guys. So today's topic is my birth story. I actually have never publicly spoken about my birth story. I don't know why, but hopefully I get to open up today and tell you guys why I never publicly spoken about it.
Never thought I'd see the light again. I got something I can see again. I think I can finally breathe again. I've got something to believe in. I can finally see the end. Morning.
I'll be sharing with you guys my birth story, but before I even do that, I feel like it's only fair I let you guys, through the journey of exactly how I found out I was pregnant. I'll be very brief with that. I won't go into the gooey details. So it's been 4 months since I gave birth, for those of you that don't know, and it's been exactly a year since I found out I was pregnant, because I found out last year in September. So the only signs that I had was a missed period. I didn't have any morning sicknesses or any of the other sicknesses that people get when they are pregnant. My period was just late, and my period is never late. I have a very regular period even now after giving birth. So it was late, so immediately after work I was like, no, let me just go buy myself a pregnancy test. So I went to the pharmacy, I bought myself a pregnancy test, and then I was like, okay, cool, let me just wait until I get home so that we can do it together. But then there was just something inside of me that was just like, no, girlfriend, you really do not want to wait until you get home for you to do a pregnancy test. So I just decided there and there, let me just go to the bathroom and get this done. So I'm at that time, and then I just decided, okay, let me just go into the bathroom, pee on the stick. I mean, it's easy, right? So I bathroom, and then I did what must be done, and then not even a minute, and then I wanted those 2 lines, and I was like, oh my goodness, no, this is not happening. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna buy another pregnancy test, I'll just go see the doctor. So okay, fine, I took a picture and then I just threw the pregnancy test, because why must I keep it? So okay, fine, I sent a picture of the pregnancy test to Usihle, and then he was like, okay, we'll talk about it when I get home, because he was still working in at that time. So okay, we get home, and then we just carry on with our normal evening routine. We greet each other, we prepare whatever we're gonna eat, and then only later on, I think after an hour, and he was like, oh, okay, so you're pregnant. I was like, babe, we are pregnant, we're gonna have a baby. And then I think it hadn't sunk in as yet. So he was like, okay, just go see a doctor, and then let's confirm with the doctor. Okay, so I was like, okay, I think it was a Wednesday when I found out I was pregnant. So I was like, okay, fine. On Friday, I'm just gonna ask for a morning off at work, and then I'm just gonna go see a doctor to then confirm what is going on. Okay, fine. I went to the doctor. She asked me to do the same thing. And then we retested, and then she was like, okay, you are definitely pregnant. And then she was like, okay, you must lie down so that I can see how far you are. And then she asked me what was my last missed period, I think, last missed period. So I told her, I think it was the 16th of August last year, which actually still gives me a fright. So nje ngiyabonga ukuthi this year afikile. Imagine if like the same thing that happened last year happened again. Like I don't think I would survive. So anyways, we test with the doctor, and then we get a scan, and then she's like, okay, we can't really hear the heartbeats at this moment, but there definitely is something in there. And then she prescribed my vitamins, and then she was like, okay, she gave me all the safety things that you need to, be cautious of when you are pregnant, like no eating all salmon, no eating this, no alcohol, no this, no that, blah 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 blah. So we went through that, and then she was like, okay, I can see you for the first trimester, and then after the first trimester you can then maybe see a gynecologist. It's totally up to you, but if you still want to see a gynecologist, I'm more than welcome to do so. So I was like, okay, let me just talk to my partner about that, and then we will decide, Wuti, do we want to only start seeing a gynecologist at from the second trimester going onwards. And then I got home, and then we decided, okay, we're not gonna see a GP, we're gonna see a gynecologist, because sometimes the far in you are in your pregnancy, it becomes very difficult for gynecologists to want to then see you, because I mean there could be complications and whatnot. They have their own reasons. I really don't know what they are, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna, go with the safer route and just see a gynecologist from start to end. And then, okay, cool, fine. We did our research, we find a gynecologist, and then we saw him up until the end of our pregnancy. So I gave birth at 39 weeks. And then because of the coronavirus and little information being available at the time, the doctor then advised me to get induced. So initially, when I saw the doctor, I told him, Uti, I want to give birth naturally. I don't want any epidural. I just want to give birth naturally. The baby comes through the vagina, no C-section. That was my plan. Okay, then fine. He was like, okay, we're gonna do this, blah blah blah. And if there's one thing I can tell all the mommies to be, listen to your gut feeling. You know that voice that's like always here? Like it never moves, it never leaves. It's literally just always there with you. It will say something to you. Listen to it. Do not ignore it. But I think also for me, I wouldn't really say I ignored it, but it was because of the doctors that were available that my medical aid was paying for. So I didn't want to then go through the midwife route, and then I find out they're only going to pay like 40% of the fees, and total is like 20,000 rands, and then like it's just, so I opted for that doctor because firstly the hospital was covered by my medical aid, both for me and the baby, and then what else, and then they were also covering for him. So there was no co-payments, nothing that I was going to pay out of my pocket. So I went with him. And then, okay, fine, we sat down, we spoke about the induction. So both me and hubby had to get tested for the virus. so that they know which section of the hospital they actually place us into. So we get tested, our results come back negative. I think that was like a couple of days before the induction. So we had to go in very early in the morning to get induced and whatnot. So we were there at 5 in the morning, and then I got the induction. So we stayed there. The induction process probably started at like 8. Yeah, it started at 8, and then they were checking if, every now and again, if am I having contractions, am I dilating and whatnot. And to be quite honest with you, when I went into giving birth through the induction, I already knew that chances of it becoming a C-section, becoming a cesarean were there, because the baby wasn't ready to come out. So if the baby isn't ready to come out, then so okay, cool, fine. We then we start the induction process. They put the gels. There wasn't any medication that they gave me to swallow. I'm actually surprised, because some people do say they take any medication to like some pills, but I mean, I really wouldn't know what the people or the person's medical conditions are as opposed to mine. So they put the gel, they come in, they do an internal exam through your vagina just to see if, is the baby, coming down and whatnot. So on the contractions, I was getting contractions, but I couldn't feel them because I wasn't dilating. So it's the actual dilation that makes the contractions to be painful. So I was getting like cramping that felt like mild period pains. So yeah, and then I think around 6 o'clock, the midwife then came in and she was like, I think the induction is failing, and we don't want to increase the dosage. Maybe you guys must now then think about a cesarean option. So I'm not gonna lie, I did cry, because I mean, that's not what I was mentally prepared for. Even though when you are going to give birth, I feel like you need to be very open-minded, because anything could happen, and the most important thing is coming out there alive, both you and the baby, and both you and the baby are actually healthy. So okay, cool. I did cry, and then hubby did console me. We cuddled on my bed for like an hour. So then she was like, okay, I'll phone your doctor, and then they are going to be here. So I'll phone all the doctors involved, and then they are going to be here. Okay, cool. So we just cuddled for a bit, and then she came in and she was like, okay, your cesarean section will then start at 10:30 at night. So okay, cool. And then she was like, okay, I'm gonna have to shave you. And then she checked, she was like, oh, actually you're actually clean, so I won't need to do that. That's actually one thing you ladies need to make sure it is done. Please make sure, if you are able to, get a wax, preferably, because it will take off all the hair. Whether you're giving birth naturally or you are going to get a scheduled C-section, rather clean yourself than to have someone else like shaving you. It's very uncomfortable, even though it's their job, but like it's really not comfortable to have someone clean you up and stuff like that. Sip my tea. Because we gave birth during a time where there were no visitors allowed in the hospital, so we had like in the hospital, in the wards, It was like a very big room with our own bathroom, and there were two beds in there. It was my bed and his bed. So he wasn't allowed to go out up until I leave, and if he leaves, he can't come back in. So we agreed ukuthi he's gonna stay up until I leave, and he took leave barely around the time that I was scheduled to then give birth. So okay, cool, fine. We cuddle on my bed, which is a very tiny bed. If you've been in hospital, you will know how tiny hospital beds are. Okay, fine. We cuddle. We prayed. We phoned our families to let them know it's okay. This is how the baby's gonna come. Okay, fine. So we started now to prepare for, like, I think around 10 at night. The doctors started coming in, introducing themselves. The one doctor though that stood out for me was definitely the pediatrician, and till today he's my son's pediatrician because he's a very, very sweet doctor. So okay, fine, they came. The one thing that people never ever talk about when they are having a cesarean is the catheter. Guys, let's just have a moment of silence for the catheter. That thing is painful. Oh my goodness, that thing is painful. So this midwife is coming to insert a catheter inside my vagina. And then she's like, so I asked her, is it gonna be painful? She's like, oh no, it's just like when you're taking your bloods for sugar. Guys, do you know when you're taking your bloods for sugar, it's literally a prick and it's done. You forget about it. A catheter, oh my goodness. So she then inserts, so I'm thinking it's just that one push that's gonna be, painful. No. When the more she pushes, the more difficult it is. The more she pushes, the more difficult it is. And then she was like, okay, you can relax, I'm done. And then it feels like that catheter, it's coming out. And I'm like, so I kept on ringing the bell. I kept on ringing the bell. I go, what is going on? They were like, no, it will feel like that, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, couldn't this have been done when, I've got my spinal injection done already? So they were like, no, we have to do it now, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. So we go down to theater. I see my gynecologist. So I meet him down there. And then we got all the injections done. For me, a spine, I've never had an epidural being done on me because this was my first birth. But the spinal wasn't that bad. And I think also just having the presence of my partner really, really made things a bit much more calmer as opposed to giving birth alone. So okay, fine. Things happen, we get the injections done, and then so the anesthetist started giving me the injections, making sure ukuthi, I'm still fine, monitoring my blood pressure and whatnot. And then he explained to me ukuthi, it's not that I won't feel anything. I will definitely feel a little bit of pressure. I won't feel pain though, but I will feel ukuthi, there's nipping and there's tucking being done. Okay, cool, then that happens. And then he just keeps on explaining to me, it's okay, this is what they're doing. This is the layer that they are cutting, which was very, very friendly of him. I think it's also his way of making sure ukuthi I'm awake, and just to monitor ukuthi I'm doing fine with the injections that he just gave me. Because I think he gave me 2. I just can't remember exactly in medical terms ukuthi which ones exactly did I get, but I remember I got 2 injections. Okay, and then fine. He was like, okay, whenever you hear a gushing sound. That's basically the water breaking. Okay, fine, we hear the sound, and he was like, okay, they are taking out your baby. And then they took out the baby. I didn't get to see the baby immediately. I don't know why. And then my partner, then they just asked him to move to another table. The baby was crying, the baby was fine. They were like, no, he's fine. We just need to make sure that, check all his vitals and make sure that he's healthy. So they did that. And then only once he was like a little bit wiped, his umbilical cord was cut off by hubby. Then they brought him to me, and then we took pictures. I'm still in theatre and I'm busy getting stitched up. And then we then went up to the recovery for skin to skin. He then did skin to skin for the first time with firstly with hubby and then with me. Yeah, it wasn't exactly what I had planned, but I would really say that it was really, really beautiful. Exactly the way that God had just wanted it to be. And then, okay, fine, day one of recovery, oh my goodness, that was hell. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. It was really ugly. And I couldn't really bend, and thank goodness for hubby, because he was there to help me with everything. The first bath in J after I gave birth, he assisted me with it. And imagine you are dealing with pain yourself, you need to take care of a baby. Nje, it's just ugly. Like, I'm not sure if there is any other way that this process when you are giving birth with a cesarean can be made better, and you need to wake up every 2 to 3 hours to feed the baby. So NJ, it just wasn't difficult. I mean, it just really wasn't easy at all. I think the first 3 days, it was bad. It was really bad. We have now recovered. I think it took about a week for me to be able to, just walk properly. But guys, cessation is not easy at all. For those of you that think that women who give birth with cesarean have it easy, no, we do not. So just that that thinking of yours, it's not easy, especially the recovery. Yeah, corner, it's really difficult. But also, I think going forward, I'm not sure. I'm still not sure if I want to give birth naturally, because I can. Vaginal birth after a cesarean, I definitely can. If I wait for like a minimum of 3 years, I think it's 2 to 3 years, of which, I mean, of course, I'm willing to wait that long to then give birth. And for Nakona, it's just for the books. Otherwise, I think I would definitely give birth via a C-section again, especially if you are a person like me and you like to plan. I don't like spontaneous things. I like to plan. I like to know how every single thing will go through. But the only thing I was just not happy about was the catheter. My goodness. I was really not happy with that. It was really painful. It was very uncomfortable. And it was only taken out, I think, when I started feeling my legs, because had they taken it out before I could feel my legs, I could pee. I could pee without even knowing Wooty, I'm gonna pee. But anyways, so this is my birth story. So definitely please do like, share and subscribe onto our video, and yes, I love you guys. Mwah.